Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to episode 408 of the Nintendo-Okie Podcast for Monday, April the 2nd, 2018. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, because everybody else is gone, I got Ethan.
Hey.
What's going on, sir?
I think we just spent 50 minutes trying to get this all to work.
We did, but hopefully this will work and people will enjoy this. So basically, it's April. It's like the April Fool's Day joke for us or something. We just wanted to have a little fun with the show this week since it's just the two of us. So we figured we both have retro pies. Let's play something together and talk about some stuff on the internet at the same time and see how badly it goes.
It might get pretty bad. I don't know if we're still synced or not.
It could be really bad. We will see. But yeah, we just wanted to have a little fun with the show this week since it's just the two of us. And we are going to be playing Kirby Super Star together.
Alright.
So
Best Kirby game ever.
We've spent 45 minutes or so trying to get this set up. It took a while. I think IP addresses were messed up, and we finally got that figured out. It connected us. So we're going to play Kirby Super Star while we talk about some of the stuff we've been playing and any of the news and listener feedback. So we'll do all the regular parts of the show. We're just going to do it while we're trying to play a video game at the same time.
So when are we going to start the game?
I am going to start the game right now. So if I can figure out, there we go.
Hey, you have 2% already.
Yeah, I turned it on one day and I think I walked around greens for about 3 seconds and it got me to 2%.
Nice.
So we'll just start a new save file here so that we're fresh. And I have never played this game 2-player, so I don't know what's going to happen. We shall see.
Well, you'll be in charge of most of the stuff on here, so even if you say no, it's going to tell you.
Yeah, I know. That's so weird. It's like, I don't want you to give me the instructions, but it does anyway.
I think the only difference is I know the Japanese version's got the colored buttons on there.
Yeah.
And since I know nothing else about the Japanese version, I'm assuming it probably just tells you once properly.
Yeah. I'm using a controller that looks like the Japanese controller. So right now, I guess it's just me. I've got to get you in the game here.
And press A. Alright,
there you go.
I'm an eyeball in a laggy game now.
Oh, that's going to be fun. The second player comes in and...
Oh gosh. I don't know if you can see the stream, Tony, but it's...
Yeah, I can't see the stream at all. I have no idea what's going on.
There's like a brief moment where I have some good frames and then it gets bad.
Yeah, this might not work. I mean, it's not completely unplayable, but it's kind of rough.
We'll call this the challenge mode.
The game's not really made for 2 players to be playing states apart.
Maybe like rooms apart, but...
I think you're really supposed to be in the same room with the person you're playing with.
Nope.
Oh dear. I can't do anything until he throws something at me. There.
Good job.
Now I'm gonna eat him. Okay, so what have you been playing this week, Ethan?
Well, I played the same thing I always play, Warframe.
Nice. So anything different about this week?
I'm actually maxed out my second frame.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm exploding. I meant to copy that bomb guy's ability. Dang it.
I'm not sure where you're going.
If I'm in exploding mode, I can bump into certain enemies and copy them.
Okay.
Oh, you're on your own for now.
Uh-oh. Do you not come with me?
I blew up.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna throw a bomb.
It's amazing how smooth it runs when it's just one person playing. So yeah, I played Warframe, maxed out my second frame on there, and started on my third one.
Uh-huh.
And I played a little bit of that with Cole, it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten to the point where I'm comparing it to Destiny, mostly around the points of not much, like content-wise. There's really not much there, but it's free to play, and you're doing the whole Destiny thing, going to different planets and and fighting like various enemies of various types of that become a generic nature after a while, and you run into harder variants later on, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and I've played a few minutes of that game. I think I probably put 2 hours into it. So I see those comparisons to Destiny, but I don't know enough about both of those games to be able to say, yeah, that's an apt comparison or not.
I would say it's like I'm trying to think of a good way to describe that for a Destiny comparison. I would say it's like a good substitute, if anything.
Okay. It's a free-to-play Destiny game, basically.
Yeah. I know what I was trying to say. In Destiny, you get to customize your Guardian and everything, but then it's all played from first-person view. Whereas this one, it's third-person view, so you get to see your character at all times.
So it's nice because in Destiny you don't get to see your character that often.
It's like, oh, I spent all this time making this set of armor, and then I don't get to see how I look in it all the time, or what the colors are, and all that fun stuff. Whereas you get this one, and then it's just there it is. I get to enjoy the view. Keep killing everything before you have a chance to eat it.
There we go. Okay, so anything else?
Actually played Destiny 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, any particular reason you just wanted to play Destiny, or was there some update that happened this week?
The March update finally went live.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they changed the nightfall from it used to be timed on when Destiny 2 came out. It became timed, and so you could game over as much as you wanted, but you had a time limit to operate in. And now it's back to like Destiny 1, where everything's hard. And I was gonna. Okay, cool. So it's back to like Destiny 1 hardness of difficulty on trying to do stuff. Also, it doesn't help whenever you haven't played the game in a while.
No, I can imagine it doesn't.
Trying to re-associate yourself with those controls.
And especially because you've probably been playing so much Warframe lately that it's weird to go back to that other control scheme.
Yeah, it took a little bit to readjust, and then realize I'm no longer a melee character. Instead, I'm now using guns again.
I have that problem going back and forth between Rocket League and Mario Kart.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because, with Rocket League, you use the shoulder buttons to do your acceleration and your braking, and I get so used to that if I go back to Mario Kart, I'm wanting to accelerate with the shoulder buttons, and that doesn't do anything in Mario Kart at the start, so I'm just sitting there.
So, yeah, we ended up completing the nightfall we were doing. It took more tries than I want to admit on the boss.
Isn't that always how it works, though?
Yeah, pretty much. There, finally copied someone. And the other thing I played, I think I played a little bit of Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
And if not, I need to, because there was some updates and stuff for that. Oh
so
no.
The Devil Joe stuff, that's done with, right?
He is still in the game, it's just the tempered version has been removed.
Okay.
That was a weekend-only experience. But that's fine with me, I can still get his stuff made.
You still get it, it's just, you know, a slightly easier version of Devil Joe?
Well, it's only high rank, so yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the new event on there right now is the Kulu Yaku head thing.
Yeah. I saw some video
Oh,
about
Cole
that. I don't know
says
exactly what-
Cole said that Devil Joe's coming back for the Spring Festival.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll get to have the Kulu Yaku head to go with the oh, you're low on health.
Oh,
To
that's
go-
die.
To go with the don't get hit, don't get hit. No. To go with the wormhead thing that came out probably earlier this month.
Yeah.
That thing gives you 3 uses, by the way.
Okay. And it doesn't do anything against blocks.
No, but it clears the screen. Also, there was a full health tomato down here.
Well, I'll take it now. I don't need it, but I'll take it.
So that's all I've been playing.
Okay.
Oh, aside from, you know, this.
Which is not going as well as I would hope. Ah. Oh, well. Come here. There we go. Alright.
So, things I bought this week. I bought a new Raspberry Pi.
Okay. Any particular reason?
There was a new model released, like 2 days, like right after I got your Pi in that I built for you.
Yeah. What kind of
It's
difference is it compared to the one that I have now?
the current one that you have and the one that I was using before is the Raspberry Pi model, Raspberry 3. I'll get it right here one of these times. Raspberry 3 Model B.
Mm-hmm. And so now it's like the
Now it's Raspberry Pi 3 Model B Plus.
Okay.
It's got some more, I want to say, processing power in there, or maybe RAM. I'm not really sure which one it is. Maybe both.
Yeah, so like, if we were using that version of it, we probably wouldn't have as much issue with the lag as we're seeing right now.
Well, I am using it right now. I'm surprised it's
Oh, are
working.
you?
Yes.
Okay.
I do know the one of the differences right now is I'm running a kind of a beta build of the Retro Pi engine stuff that we're using to run everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is let's see, the one that you're on right now is built on something called Jessie,
Okay.
and that's no longer supported. So I'm running it on what's called Stretch.
And what's the difference between those? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. But essentially, you're running a slightly
Beefed up version, yes.
yeah. So, all right.
Oh.
Anything else?
Come to the left, come to the left. Hey, there they are.
It's Mario and Luigi
And Toad.
and Toad and Birdo.
I think that's all I bought this week. I'm just gonna keep throwing blades because I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, well, all right. Well, let's see. What have I been playing this week? A couple new things. One that is out now, I believe. Penny Punching Princess, or it comes out very soon.
Penny Punching Princess.
I think it's out now.
It's the NIS game that is the collector's edition is like a gold brick.
Is it really?
I think it comes in like a gold brick looking case.
Interesting. This one was announced a few months back. So I guess we beat this game. And it's essentially, it is a RPG, much like many of the games that NIS puts out. It uses pixel-style graphics. It's all done from a 3/4 top-down view sort of thing. But the whole premise of the game is that everything in this world runs off of the power of capitalism, including fights. So like everything, money is the most powerful object in this world. And you as a fighter are not necessarily good enough on your own to win fights. I mean, against some smaller enemies, yes, you're going to be fine. But as you're playing the game, you're earning money, and the money that you collect, you can then use to bribe other monsters in the game to fight for you. So, as you're playing, you'll be fighting characters, and they have a health bar that pops up. And once their health bar gets down about halfway, you put them into what is called a break mode. And when that happens, if you take the right stick and you just spin it around as fast as you can, the character that you're fighting will drop money while they're in this sort of stage where they can't attack you, and you'll use that extra bonus money to pick up, and you can use that to bribe other characters. And the way to bribe the other characters is by this calculator that you have received from the god of capitalism in the world. It is the most absurd sort of premise for a game that I've seen, but it works, and it's funny. And as you're fighting, you'll bring up this calculator, and when you do, every character on the screen has a dollar amount or a gold amount that they can be bribed with. So your sort of basic enemies will take like 100 or 200 gold to be bribed to fight for you. And if you have the money and you bribe them, you get a limited amount of times that you can call on their assistance. So as you're fighting, you'll see the X button pop up, and when you do that, that will bring out this enemy that you have bribed to fight for you, and they'll do damage against the other enemies. And that is really the way that you're going to be most successful, is doing that. But it's not just enemies in the world that can be bribed. It's also traps. Doors can be bribed. There will be doors to secret places that you can bribe them to open. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get through the door. There will be traps that are like fire-based traps, so that every few seconds, fire will pop out of it. And if it hasn't been bribed, then it will do damage to you. If you have successfully bribed the trap, then you can press the X button when enemies are on top of the trap and use that to damage the enemies. So it's this really just strange, bizarre premise to a game, but it's really well done, and it actually works pretty well. You have all kinds of things that you can do in between levels, so you can take the money that you've earned and buy new armor, buy new abilities, and things like that. Some of them are passive abilities that will just happen throughout the game as you're playing. Some of them are more active abilities that you can use to maybe help bribe characters faster, or to cause bribed characters to do more damage and things like that. So it's a really funny game as well. I've been finding myself laughing quite a bit at the things that they're saying, because they go on and on and on about the virtues of capitalism, but at the same time they talk about how evil it is because people get so obsessed with becoming powerful that all they think about is the money that they can earn. I think people are here.
Yep.
So I think altogether there's sort of this overarching theme that yes, money can be helpful, but you shouldn't focus too much on it.
Sounds reasonable.
So I mean, it's a really funny game. I was thinking when it first came out that it was more of a sort of turn-based style game, but it's not. It is a straight action RPG.
Oh,
But
no.
I've been having a really good time with it. It's a really well-made game. There are some sort of things that hold it back a little bit. Like you really have to, very early in the game, some of the boss type enemies can be a little too overpowered, and you have to go back through levels that you've played numerous times to earn money to power yourself up a little bit. Otherwise, you may not have enough, health to survive specific areas, or you may not have the right kind of armor to really keep you from getting hurt too much. So there is a lot of backtracking that has to be done in the game. But overall, I think it's been incredibly fun to play.
Neat.
So, and then let's see, the other thing that I have been playing is a platformer that I think comes out the day after the show airs, called Adventure Pals. When I first saw the game, and I hadn't seen like the title or anything of it, I thought it was an Adventure Time game. Because it is done in that sort of style. It's a co-op platformer that you can play by yourself if you're if you are the only player in the house or whatever. There's no online, so you have to have someone in the house to play the game with you. But you play as this kid whose name I couldn't tell you what it is. I don't remember. They've said it enough, but I don't remember what the kid's name is. And he has this giraffe that he carries around in his backpack. How he'd fit a giraffe in his backpack, I don't know.
It boggles the mind.
That is what has happened. He's carrying this giraffe around in his backpack, and the giraffe helps him by navigating large gaps, because when you jump, if you hit the B button while you're in the air, the giraffe will spin his tongue around so fast that he basically acts as a helicopter. So, so you have a giraffe in your backpack that that will help you reach very high places. It also can be used as like a grappling hook to grab enemies that are far away, or there are these things in the game, these sort of levers that need to be turned, and the only way to turn them is for the giraffe to basically eat the lever and then spin around in a circle so that it can open or can use this lever in some way. So it's a very weird game, but the platforming stuff is really well done, and I want to go with that one. I haven't had a chance to play the game co-op, so I don't know how it would work really with two players playing at the same time.
So I'm guessing one would control the giraffe?
One person would control the boy and one person would control the giraffe.
Man, imagine playing Banjo-Kazooie and someone's controlling Kazooie for you.
I mean, there have been a few platformers like that. Chicken Wiggle is another one that comes to mind where there's two characters that could potentially be controlled. But in Chicken Wiggle, it's I don't think it would work as well as a co-op style game, even though there are the two characters that could potentially be controlled at the same time. Have some help.
Thank you.
What are you?
Plasma.
Okay.
It's a wisp. Build up a charge and I shoot it. Also, we're in an area where people will try to steal your ability and steal me.
Well, I don't care if they steal you. That's fine.
Well, that's good to know.
So, yeah, Adventure Pals, if you are looking for a co-op platformer or just a weird sort of premise for a platformer, check it out. I think it's fairly cheap, or will be fairly cheap on the eShop, $15 I think, or something like that. And I want to say there are about 100 levels that can be played. They're all pretty short. I mean, they're not terribly long levels. They're made up of, they're broken up into sections. So there's like 4 different sections in each level. And at the end of the level, you're trying to get this ruby that is at the last section of the level. And once you've finished that 4th section, you've collected the ruby. It'll open up another set of levels that you can play. The story is told through this sort of there's a grandpa character who is helping you out and doing things for you while you're doing the platforming portions of the game. I am coming to learn that it's really hard to talk about a game while you're playing another game.
So glad you came up with this idea.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's going to be the greatest show ever.
The lag is killing me on this. So the last thing I recall saying something about a giraffe and then 2-player mode.
Yes, there's a giraffe in Kirby. His name is Chip the Giraffe.
Is that everything you've played?
Yes, yes it is. Let's see, what did I buy this week? I bought Punch-Out.
Punch-Out?
Yes. The Arcade Archives version of Punch-Out came out this week. Sort of unannounced. It'll probably be in next week's press release for the eShop, because it wasn't in this week's press release, even though the game came out this week.
No!
And I have never actually played the arcade version of the game, ever. So, I was kind of curious to see how it plays, and it's kind of hard.
I could have sworn the arcade version was the one I heard about that had to use like a special screen.
It uses a double screen in the arcade.
Yeah, but it was like something they had to go to like an airport type of monitor thing that's used.
Oh, did they?
I forget where I heard it at. That's what's bugging me on this one.
Yeah, I don't know anything about how they made the arcade cabinet. I think it was one of their first sort of forays into double screen games, aside from like the Game & Watch and stuff.
You can eat those rocks, by the way.
I'm just gonna let you fight this guy because I am doing terribly. I'm gonna eat this fish. What is this?
You can spit the fish at him.
Nothing. I should have spit it at him.
Incoming! Got him.
Good job. Thank you, sir, because I would have gotten squashed by him.
I was willing to take a risk of damage there.
So, yeah, that game's really hard. I can't get past Piston Hurricane. I tried playing for probably, I don't know, 30 minutes or so yesterday after I bought the game.
I mean, yeah.
Glass Joe, pretty easy, but Piston Hurricane, who's the second fighter, it's really hard. I just jumped out of that.
Oops, I meant to stop it.
I guess we'll just walk.
What was it, Piston Hurricane?
Yeah, Piston Hurricane, who is the second fighter in that, and I can't beat him. I've gotten close. First of all, you only have one round to fight anybody in the game, so if you can't beat them in 3 minutes, you get a game over. Yeah.
Even if you have...
No, even if you're winning the fight or whatever, if you've knocked them down twice and they've never knocked you down at all, if you can't beat them in 3 minutes, that's it. You don't get another chance. You don't get a second round. You don't get anything like that. Of course, it was an arcade game designed specifically to take your quarters, so it makes sense. But it's really weird compared to the home versions of the game that I'm used to playing.
By the way, we're supposed to be trying to find all these treasures that open in this game.
Okay, well, I've opened one, I think.
Keep digging down. There it is. You just press up. There you go.
I am going to put some time into...
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Okay, there it goes. I look away for a second and it goes away.
I'm going to put some time into trying to beat the arcade version of Punch-Out. But I can barely beat any other version of the game, so I don't know how successful I'm going to be at beating this version of the game.
Do you know at AGDQ they had a guy run Mike Tyson. Is it Mike Tyson's?
Yes.
It had him run that one and Super Punch-Out at the same time.
Oh my gosh. I would think that would be almost impossible.
And he did it with one controller.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool video. I recommend watching it.
Yeah. Which door?
Yeah, pick a door. Any door.
So that is all that I have bought this week.
Alright, I guess with that we can move on to the news.
The only news I really have this week to talk about is a Kickstarter project that I've been following from our friends over at A2E. Chicken Wiggle has been going on. That campaign has been running for almost the full 4 weeks now, and it was just a couple hours before we started recording. Fully funded. They reached the $30,000 funding goal.
And if you're listening to this on the day of release, you have, I think, 1 day.
One day left.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the campaign ends on Tuesday, and it'll cost you $15 to grab a copy of Chicken Wiggle. But I would recommend backing this Kickstarter if you haven't, because what they're doing is they're taking the 3DS game and they are upgrading it to HD for the Switch, and that will be out I think late in the year. There's no actual release date that's been announced, but I think they're looking at December, around December to launch the game. So
this is the HD version of the game, and with the Mario Maker style stuff as well.
Yes. So it has the level editor, and all of the levels that have already been created for the 3DS version of the game will be available from day one on the Switch version of Chicken Wiggle.
That's cool.
So you'll already, aside with not only the levels that the developers made, but all of the user-created content will be available from day one.
Sorry, I'm getting nervous every time we go through a door now, because it's like, did we disconnect? What's going on?
Yeah. So, the level editor stuff is really easy to use. I think it is probably... the level editor itself is maybe not quite as user-friendly as something like Mario Maker is, but the level sharing stuff is far superior, I think, to the Mario Maker. At least on the 3DS. Because, whereas Mario Maker on the 3DS didn't allow you to search for player-created content, you just basically were given levels that you could play. Chicken Wheel has a fully searchable database, so you can look for any creator, you can look for any type of level. There's plenty of different search options to choose from when you're trying to find levels to play. So I think it is a much nicer user-created type experience than Mario Maker was on the 3DS. And all of that stuff should carry over to the Switch version. So already it'll be one of those games that has plenty of nice user-created content. I've got, I think, 4 levels that I created on the 3DS version of the game that are out there that people can play.
I don't think my character can swim.
Well, he doesn't have arms. Oh, I was gonna say he doesn't have arms, but he still does.
They're like disc. They're.
You have Rayman arms.
Yeah.
This game is so laggy.
It's the challenge mode, man.
It's like playing it on the actual Super Nintendo.
So yeah, Chicken Wiggle, you got like 1 day to back it unless you're listening to the live episode, like Cole is right now.
Then you have like 3 days.
Yeah.
So, I would definitely recommend people check that game out. Because it's fun. I mean, it was not a terribly difficult game. It was not a terribly long game. I think I finished the story. It's not really a story mode, but the single player mode in about 3 hours, I think. So the stuff that comes pre-built by the developers didn't take terribly long to finish, but I was playing that game with user-generated content for a long time.
That's gonna be on Nintendo Switch only, isn't it?
Yes, as of right now, it is a Switch exclusive.
I hope that answers your question, Cole.
You can currently get it on the 3DS, but I would wait for the Switch version, because it's gonna have nice, really nice HD visuals. I did not jump that high. If you check out the Kickstarter, you can see some comparisons, at least in screenshot form, of the game on the 3DS versus the Switch, and you can see just how different the game will look on the Switch in HD, and it is a significant upgrade compared to the 3DS visuals. Whoa.
Yeah, you're not gonna get that.
Oh, I want to get it. Oh well. So, but that was the only news story that I had. Is there anything newsworthy that you have seen this week that you wanted to talk about?
I'm sure there was, and I've since long forgotten about it. Probably particularly in the 50 minutes it took for us to get this all hooked up.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna copy that guy. Hold on. There we go. There, I'm kind of like you now.
You don't really look like me.
I said kind of like you. Watch, let's Let's find an enemy real quick. Wait. This way. And then I can get rid of it like you do.
Oh.
Boom.
Okay. Interesting.
It's okay, my grabby glove will punch stuff.
Yeah, well, my yo-yo will hit them.
I think it was supposed to be like a... Cole says, Sir Kibbles in bits. Oh, did you do that, or did I do that? Yes.
I need food. Thank you.
I'll take a little bit from you.
Here we go. Have a hug. Kirby, the world's friendliest platform.
Oh no. While this guy is like really handy, it's the one thing that really scares me in this game whenever I'm like second player.
Really?
Yeah, he steals your partners. We can't go that way. Or rather, not as we currently are. Let me do something over here real quick. Where are you at? Not you. There we go. Hop on.
I look like Wario.
You can shoot stars in the 8 cardinal directions as well. Oh, I'd still jump those. Okay.
Truth mirror. Bye.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so guess we can move on to listener feedback.
Alright, and our first one this week comes from Cole via Facebook, who wants to know, what do game developers need to do to keep players playing their game months after the initial release? I.e., how can they bring people back week after week? That's a very good question. I think the first sort of way, and that's the most common way anymore, is they continue to just add content to the game, whether it's through free updates or paid DLC, whichever one.
A slime appears. Kirby and Co. attack.
So,
50
and
damage.
different developers have different ways that they look at possibly doing that. Some, like Nintendo, they do it sort of through a mix of both free and paid DLC. They, for a long time, sort of refused to do paid DLC, which a lot of people appreciated, but they have, with the last couple of platforms, decided to start getting in on the paid DLC party. But I think they still do sort of the best job at making the difference between free DLC and paid DLC pretty significant. So they'll do all these kind of small updates and things to games, like Mario, where they're adding new costumes and a couple of new modes to the game. But then they've got other ones like Fire Emblem, where when you get DLC, you're paying for it, but it's a pretty decent amount of stuff. It's not just a costume here and a costume there that they try to nickel and dime you. They're adding a bunch of new characters and new maps and new modes that sort of add a significant chunk of time to the game. So I really like the way Nintendo has done their sort of balance between free DLC and free... dang it, I did it again. Free DLC and paid DLC. keep thinking I need to jump like in Donkey Kong.
We just did an RPG battle, by the way.
Yes. Yes, we did.
Oh no, you just passed the secret entrance up there. Also, I think there's a room over here on the right. Hey, there it is. So yeah, I don't know, replayability is a big thing for me on keeping a game fresh, and then like Monster Hunter World having content updates with new items here and there, kind of like what Destiny 1 kind of did here and there, but not really. I think Warframe's doing it pretty good right now, because they have like a rotation of their of the prime frames that are the paid for frames, but like I said, they're timed, or not timed. They are timed, but they're rotated in and out.
Yeah.
But there's also all the other stuff you can do, and they also keep certain missions rotating. And
I think I see updates to Warframe all the time. It's like they're doing a really good job of making sure that their players get new content all the time.
Yeah, they're pretty good about the content on there. They're also really good about the what's it called? The microtransactions. They recently released one and then had to pull it like a couple of days later, like the day they released it, and it was given a random. It was like paying I want to say 64 cents for a random skin on your on the dog pet thing that you get in there.
Okay.
And like the day they did it, someone went and used it 200 times in a row.
Wow.
And so they looked at that immediately and said, "No, we can't have this," and got rid of it. Because you're just.
They didn't want people spending tons of money, or.
Well, one, you do want them to spend money on your game, but you don't want them. You don't want to be get considered kind of like the microtransaction thing where you're playing a loot box hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And this was just for a skin for your pet, and it was a randomized color, but. Oh, sorry, I was trying to get over to you. So, you know, seeing someone do that 200 times in a row. Oh, let's see.
So 64 cents 200 times, that's a pretty significant.
They spent about 130 bucks on it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm blowing up.
Oops.
You destroyed the floor.
We didn't need that floor.
That's fine. I don't think the boss needed it either.
So.
Let's see. Did Cole also give us the topic thing here?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Okay. Best April Fool's prank or pranks pulled?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I try to ignore video game websites around April Fool's Day.
I think it was Destructoid several years ago. Had their entire page hand drawn, and
yes.
And instead of being able to leave a comment, you had to like fax over a page with your comment on it.
Which was pretty clever.
It was pretty good, but I can only imagine how much work they had to do that one day. I think the meanest prank I've seen video game related wise, and I believed it for the longest time, was it was Metal Gear Solid 2. The Substance was announced, and people were really excited for all the added content, and hoping you could see the other side, you explore, I don't know, one side of the big shell, and there's a whole other side that Snake is over on.
Uh-huh.
And so I think it was Game Informer did a mock-up of like some office areas there and such, and just kind of photoshopped the game onto it and everything. And then people found out it wasn't real.
Yeah. I mean, there've been some other ones, and then
go left, go left, go left.
Was it Way Forward that the game that they released on April Fool's Day that eventually became an actual game? I can't remember what it was. It's their space game with the cat and exactly what it's called. You know what I'm talking about?
I have an idea what you're talking about. Hold on, I will look that up real quick.
That sort of goes into the question that we got from Lang, who wanted to know what are some April Fool's jokes that have turned into Q2 reporting. His example was Squaresoft and Enix merging to become Square Enix is the biggest one he can think of.
Catgirl without salad.
That's it.
That was the game.
Which was an April Fool's Day joke. Also, I think was the Bayonetta thing, was that an actual April Fool's Day joke, or did they just release like this mini version of the game, the demastered version of Bayonetta on April Fool's Day? It was like a little platformer that you could play.
You know, that might have been something they planned out. I really don't know. Cole says Nintendo Power leaking Sonic in the next Smash game.
Was that an April Fool's Day thing?
That's what he says.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, okay. Sonic in the next Smash game, and then two Smash games later, it became reality.
Okay. So it was like around the time that Melee was coming out, they announced, you know, Sonic as a character, and then in which one was he? He was in Smash for Wii U.
I'm trying to figure. Press the A button. One more time.
What did you do?
I gave you the hammer ability. Let's see. Yeah, Pokemon Go was actually a April Fool's joke, wasn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised.
No,
Like I
that's
said,
it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I very actively try to avoid video game websites on April Fool's Day because I don't want any of those things that are jokes that I'm like, that sounds really cool.
It was a Google Maps thing for the day or something. I don't know. You can go in that hole. It's a door up, by the way. There was the I think was it Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy that was a Google Maps thing one day.
I can't think of any others. So there you go. And then, let's see, lastly, we've got a couple questions from Ed. First, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Is this an African or a European swallow?
European, obviously.
31 to 40 miles an hour.
There you go. I was going to say 12. I've never really measured the airspeed velocity of a swallow, either laden or unladen.
Ooh.
So...
He did that all on his own to himself. Did you see that?
No. What?
He stepped on the switch and then all the birds attacked him.
Okay. And then... Why do we drive on parkways and park on driveways?
Well, I know the first question was a Monty Python reference.
Yes, it was.
And if this is one, well, I don't know.
It's not. That's just a question everybody asks. You know, why are the things that you park your car on called a parkway and the things we drive on?
Why is the sky blue? Why do fools fall in love? If Solid and Liquid Snake are twin brothers, why do they have different voice actors?
That's a good question. I've actually, the parkways versus driveways thing, I've actually watched a video on that. I just don't remember exactly the reasoning or the explanation behind those two particular things. But I have actually seen videos on that exact subject because that's a question people ask all the time. Why is the thing you drive on called a parkway and the thing we park on called a driveway? Man, I don't have any idea where we're supposed to be going.
Yeah, it's at this point I usually get a little confused on which place I'm supposed to be at next.
So, but that would be the show for this week. So
if you're listening to the audio format of this, I apologize for all the video game playing happening in the background.
And if you're watching the video version, you got a nice little bonus.
Did you pause it? Oh,
no.
Okay.
I did not. So if anybody out there has any comments, questions, feedback about anything they heard on the show this week, you can send that to podcast@nintendo-okie.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Nintendo_Okie. Head on over to YouTube, check out the stuff we've got going on over there, like this lovely gameplay of Kirby Super Star while we were talking.
Yeah,
and then
I'll have to remember to upload this to there.
Head on over to the Facebook group and talk to us there. Thank you, Ethan, for hanging out with me for a little while.
Thank you for letting me test out the netplay capabilities of the Pi.
And having said that, we'll see everybody again in 7 days.